Phantom Forces is one of Roblox's biggest games, but has fallen into controversy recently due to numerous accusations levied by anti-fan channel Strider, who had formerly released information demonizing the creators, Stylis Studios. Today, we'll be going over the allegations relevant to Phantom Forces piece by piece, exposing a vast array of lies, misinformation, and obfuscation from what could have been a more focused expose against an irresponsible studio. Unfortunately, for dear viewers, this lad has chosen to produce over 100 minutes of vapid content. Yes, in video format, not a live stream. Chock full of memes and other comedic elements.
His username. Bella the Bat Pony was 19 and messaging a Discord user who confirmed their age was 13. Bella continued to talk to the individual and somehow the age of consent was brought up almost immediately. And yes, I pretty much cannot show any of the screenshots from their messages, but you guys know what happened. Luckily, the victim contacted people about it and word spread about the situation. Bella the Bat Pony was kicked.
If you're going to be breaking allegations of such magnitude as accommodating predation towards children, it says a lot. To see Strider milk the situation for cash this hard while clutching pearls and claiming to value victims is frankly comedic. Whether or not such a person seems to care for anything beyond views as they leafy as here their way through accusing people of accusations of preying on minors, I'll leave up to you. As someone not breaking the story, I don't have those types of reservations because I'm a money-seeking stooge. With that in mind, let's go through Strider's crusade. The first accusation Strider makes is quite silly. He claims that Phantom Forces has committed some egregious act by hosting a creator program that featured hundreds, if not thousands, of creators. In this program, 13 or so, over the course of their career, had engaged in predatory conduct, which has ruined their future in the industry. Despite us not having detailed nuance into every accusation, it should be noted that the developer did actually remove these skins. The funny part about this is these skins do next to no harm, unless you follow an extremely strange tree with leaps of logic where a video game skin leads to a child getting close to a predator. Going past that, I could 100% see and excuse even an indie developer taking a bit to patch some people out of their game, let alone a Roblox developer. Attacks like these lack foundation. The developers didn't engage in anything wrong. Hell, the devs may not have been aware of each case in depth. Game developers, especially on far less professional programs like Roblox, aren't pedo hunters or persecutors. They aren't here to investigate Glupshido number 77 with 12,000 subscribers who got a skin and did something bad. This is still ignoring the reality that I hope hangs this point. The devs did meet every one of this guy's demands, long before they were ever made by him, yet he still chooses to complain. Rather than pointing at it as a flaw or mocking the devs, he continues to morally flagellate over this. The second major accusation which Strider attempts to levy against Stylis Studios is that a moderator, yeah, we're already down to accusing third parties on a Discord instead of the devs by the way, is that a moderator found a predator and pressed the kick button instead of the ban button. Upon the predator's return the year after, they pressed the ban button. I'm not kidding. This is the big beef. Some random moderator misclicking. Now, you could argue that the moderator should be more responsible, but I swear devoutly on this Jägermeister that you cannot get me to care about a misclick on a Discord server. This is some mountain out of a goon cave tier point. If any of you have ran a big server, you know that all sorts of degen freaks come in from that nasty, raggedy, furry platform. Even Strider's server has had to clean out its own fair share of scum, and it has less than 1/10 of Stylis' user count. Now, you could argue that this guy is a random YouTuber and therefore holds less responsibility, but Then you would have to pair that next to a reality where Strider fails to hold that standard of leniency towards the literal Lego game on an extremely informal platform that was developed by fairly young people only to find sudden, rapid success. Among the big allegations of Strider's videos, one of them is a claim that one of the handful of primary developers for the game, Axis Angles, a young deranged gooner furry, is a criminal. Yeah, that's right, a criminal. What is his crime, you ask? Exposing minors to predatory content by having goon fuel on a personal, isolated Twitter account.
PF updates on Twitter. Do not look up Axis Angles into the search bar because there's a good chance you might run into some great commissioned art he's bought from furry artists. I also don't...
Not just that, this man's also committed the worst crime of all, Twitch thottery. Oh yeah, he logged into Twitch and in the middle of a dev stream moved to his desk cam, which had a furry Tata mousepad that he joked about, before immediately moving on. Basically, Epstein, right into the slammer. Gooners condemned. Their home shall be the Bastille, and I will storm it on this night. How dare thee, goon? By this guy's logic, every single Twitch hoe that appears on the front page should get the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, and his own mother at their door. Okay. To snap back to reality for a second, I've lost my composure in examining this section of the video. This is comically hilarious, and this point only works with moronic 14-year-olds who don't understand anything about how the law works or is applied. If they wanted to argue that it's morally unethical, there might be some room there, but in my eyes, it is funny to laugh at the gooner being a bit weird. Trying to erroneously claim that this is enough to get a person locked behind bars it's just a sight to behold. Like, this is beyond the fact that a personal account is, well, a personal account. Anyone, yes, including safe for work content creators, can have a personal account for more naughty things. It isn't really a bad thing. Like, not at all. It reeks of being disingenuously preachy. Just take a jab at the furry art, go censor some of it, and laugh at how vile it is, and move on. Make your money. But trying to make this a serious point about the law is baffling. Strider also complains about how the Phantom Forces devs failed to ban people under the age of 13, which is bad, TOS and all. But I don't care. It's not like 13-year-olds are suddenly 18 and able to evade any form of exploitation. Pretending like they are to make an attack is extremely stupid. The 13-year-old terms of service requirement was made primarily on the basis of preventing corporate data harvesting from 6-year-olds, which has already been done by them creating the account, rather than being in Stylis Studios' Discord server. Don't get me wrong, I'd preferred if the internet had a higher age range requirement, but in the context of Strider's point and Strider's narrative, this simply doesn't hold up. Now, we'll be moving on to the accusations, which I believe do hold some water, though it's kind of a broken clock is right twice kind of day scenario. A content creator that Stylis Studios was aware of, named Juke, was accused of predation towards minors by the owner of Bad Business, and then was kicked out. This creator then moved to Phantom Forces, where developer Axis Angles took the warning, but did not act on it until Juke chose to prey on people again within the Phantom Forces community. Immediately after showing this recidivist behavior, he was ousted from the community by the developers. Axis Angles would attempt to justify their conduct by claiming that they initially thought Juke had changed or had been fixed. To give my earnest opinion, this is a horrible justification, with no credence for science or reality. Keeping them near a bunch of kids in a Lego community is among one of the dumbest decisions I can think of. However, those who've been inclined to watch Strider's videos might realize that nothing about this justification is mentioned in the initial accusations. This is because Strider knew nothing about this excuse. You heard me right. Strider looked at a studio not immediately acting on another figure's words, common for most Discord video game communities, including those ran by the developing studio, and decided to blame them because they operated off of what happens in their space. People can be extremely stupid or petty, It's not unusual to see detailed, strange personal dramas occur where one side will try to harass or take some stance through targeting servers and individuals in to get them socially blacklisted or isolated. That is why servers would rather not partake and take bizarre stances by adhering to every statement. Had Strider initially known and tackled the situation from the perspective of Axis Angle's response, where he showed that he did believe the situation had occurred and acted idiotically, Strider may have had more legs to stand on. The truth at the end of the day is that Strider did not, and there was a likely explanation for his initial critique that could have been fairly standard practice across the wider online world. At the end of the day, Juke was still removed from the space once his abysmal conduct surfaced within the Phantom Forces community. Phantom Forces development team was aware of past allegations, but chose not to act until information within their space that's more verifiable emerged. That is the amount of knowledge Strider had. And that is what he deemed to be an evil act, not any of the evidence that surfaced afterwards. Any amount of future information that created a stronger argument against Stylis Studios does not apply. Strider is not a time traveler. Strider attempting to leap onto that information to claim his outrage was well placed is a grave, obvious continuity error. What follows from now is what I've saved for last. Strider's strongest accusation, and what I see to be his most egregious folly. A moderator for Stylis Studios began to engage in deeply inappropriate conversations, openly fantasizing about reprehensible actions with a minor. Stylis Studios was ambivalent towards the situation, but removed them after a document was released. After the situation, Stylis Studios banned all figures generally involved and related to the situation, including the Predator. When probed, moderation claimed that the person involved was banned for extremely mundane reasons, rather than the glaring one that prompted a full statement. In my eyes, I think this is really bad, like really bad. I think that Stylis Studios' moderation team should be way more transparent. I think there's some room to criticize the vagueness of the statement, as well as choosing to ban all people involved. In fact, the thing that really gets me about this situation is how long it took, and how there needed to be a fucking Google Doc released just to get the moderator dropped, when these were publicly viewable server messages. They're right here. All of these are more than enough cause for concern, and there should be improvements in this group's handling of their servers, which have hundreds of thousands of members when all combined. This type of behavior coming from inside the house is unacceptable. What shocks me, though, is what comes next in Strider's allegations. Strider begins to analyze and call out a moderator's username. Strider then begins to claim that the moderator might be an alternate account, with nothing but a join date and a complete randoms Discord messages, which for all we know, could have been fabricated. From there, Strider then weaves a deranged conspiracy theory to claim that this account is actually the pedo mod's alt, and then claims that Stylis is intentionally harboring a pedophile to keep them near kids. You heard that right. Strider's claiming that Stylis has gone full Ghislaine Maxwell, keeping child predators under wraps, knowingly allowing them to commit their actions with their aid through roles as a moderator. This complete schizophrenic theory is immediately proven wrong, as Stylis' response just shows that the supposed pedo alt was actually just an ex-moderator who ended up being rotated back in to fill in the gaps left by the last guy. In Strider's next video, covering this part of Stylis' response, Strider chooses to not take any accountability for lying. He instead chooses to say that it's actually fully justified to have made the claims he did, and continues to cast suspicion.
I saw some of the things. Strider concludes here that Stylis has learned their lesson in making a public announcement this time compared to the previous cases. However, Strider immediately follows up to make a highly accusatory and fabricated claim that Sid9 is secretly Willow using an alt account. For Sid9, who I have spent countless hours training to onboard into the PF content pipeline systems on such short notice, this is outright insulting to the team. We chose Sid9, a close mutual friend among the lead developers with We have ill intentions, and we hope that the community would continue to respect his dedication in keeping Phantom Forces content ongoing. I will say that the Willow thing is the only thing I was like, maybe it's not true, which is why I said allegedly. The fact that between the days when Axis said that Willow was stepping down with the ability to come back and permanently stepping down, the Sid9 account was created and said, I'm going to be the next contractor, is well, you can say this is the thing that proves that my video is bad. The only problem is, let's go back up to Mar, okay? We took the allegation seriously and we asked him to step down out of respect. Remember, that was on April Fool's Day 2021. However, apparently in October of 2021 had a conversation with Shaylan007, which is the third main developer, as I said, about the fact that Mar could maybe be working on the game still. This isn't Willow we're talking about. This isn't Willow we're talking about. This isn't Willow we're talking about. This is Mar. However, the Willow thing happened after Mar. So if they let Mar stay around for that long, they're probably going to let Willow stay a little bit after as well. And they both do not deserve to be getting paid to work on a children's game after they got fired, after they were exposed. It can happen with one, and so it can probably happen with the other.
Doubles down on the claim, while also at the same time walking it back by pretending that he actually claimed it was not true, by using the word allegedly. Keep in mind, Strider is one of those creators who slaps allegedly next to half of his claims because in his eyes, he thinks it is a safe, comfortable, legal couch.
Juke and Axis even allegedly met up at a furry convention,
which it is not at all. Lying and then saying, well, it's okay because I said allegedly, is completely moronic, especially when discussing sensitive issues or accusing someone of being a literal criminal. He then immediately runs over to another claim on another topic, on another person, we are now 3 removed, and then says, well, they probably are doing it again, before then cutting to a new section of the doc. This is emblematic of much of Strider's approach. Lie, obfuscate, attack, mislead, and misconstrue, reliant on the reality that there will always be 1,000 more accusations of varying truth, rather than the actual merits of each one. If we want to talk law, the way Strider tried to, but failed, Stylis has a lot of room to possibly pursue Strider for libel and slander, with the amount of damage these severe lies have inflicted on Stylis Studios. The prevailing narrative has already gone against Stylis Studios, to the amount of how much reputational damage they may incur from a lawsuit like this might not be too damaging, as long as they don't drop the case. They've also attempted to provide factual information to Strider through this response, which Strider has now provably documented himself viewing, only to dismiss for both attention and money at the cost of Stylis' operation. I may not have covered everything, and frankly, I likely won't care to. Strider has attempted to coordinate mass dislikes and raids targeting Phantom Forces, which is ironic, as such brigading could just wipe their entire public Discord server with enough reports. Strider has also attempted to get people to harass the server, encouraging mass DMs to every member in order to get the word out, aka advertise his video. He would then cry about how he was banned with no message or justification, as if he did not just brigade a server several times. Such loser behavior is comedic to see, because he's not even making money off of coping on Discord, which should be the only thing he's focused on, considering he's already abandoned every bit of his integrity thus far. His future of putting fries in the bag aside, I believe that we should attempt to stick to context, accuracy, and the truth. I'm not ordinarily here to prioritize accountability, but I will not let that restrain my stance on this situation. Have a good day, don't harass anyone, and thank you for feeding me views, you cocaine-snorting piggies.